Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Design Lounge. Today I'm going to attempt the impossible again by trying to make the font Hobo look good. It's just a terrible font with a terrible name, but this is the font right here. I'll just go ahead and put it up in Illustrator so you can see it. This is, the thing is, like, if I had to choose between Hobo and Comic Sans, I would choose Hobo, I like to actually use. I would choose Hobo to actually use, because I don't think it's the worst font in the world, but it is a universally hated font. So what we're gonna do is I'm taking things off my wrists. That means that things are getting really serious. Things are about to go down. I'm gonna try to make this font look good, and really, when it comes to fonts and typography, it's all about the application and all about the subject matter. So, in order to make this look good, first it needs to make sense. Just like you would never use Comic Sans for like a funeral program or something like that. What we need to find is something fun, and I'm trying to think of what I could possibly do. Like maybe something like a poster. Obviously a poster, that's what I do. But a poster for like maybe a theme park or something like that. So the first thing that came to my mind just now, because I went into this without any planning whatsoever, because that's also kind of my thing. But what I'm gonna do is, so I grew up in Nashville and I went to Opryland USA a lot. So I am going to try to make the font Hobo look good using an Opryland poster. And let's go ahead and I'm going to pull up the actual logo of Opryland USA. This park closed back in the 90s, the late 90s. And it is very sorely missed, and also probably the dumbest decision that anyone in any company in Nashville has ever made was to close this park. So let's go ahead and grab the colors really quick. So this, I've always liked the logo, even though it's very, it's obvious that it's, it's kind of frozen in time and stuff like that. But I think that, before I really do any kind of kerning or anything, I think that I'm going to, let's figure out exactly what the poster is going to say. So we've got, I do like this one, all the wonder of America set to music. So that's actually pretty cool. So what if we did this? What if we go ahead and get rid of that Opryland just for now, and let's go ahead and set up a space for this text to live in. Give it a 2-inch margin, and we'll go over here, pull it in by 2 inches, and I think maybe 14 by 14 is good. Just kind of make sure that all the text is fitting within that box right there. So let's see, area type, center, and let's see, what was it? All the wonder of America set to music. Okay, so obviously we need to make it bigger. Let's see here. So the font itself is very, it's a very playful type of font, and the thing is, like, that doesn't make a font bad. What in my opinion, anyway, of what makes a font bad is its overuse, and also just its uneducated use. I think every font has its place, and Hobo is not really Hobo is not an exception to that rule. So what we need to do in here is I need to go in here and clean up some of this text. So another thing that you almost never want to do when you're putting together any type of typographic design is to leave the kerning on auto. You don't want to leave it on auto because, just about every font that's ever been made, like, they can't anticipate the spacing between every single, between every single letter that you can possibly do. So the spacing is almost never perfect. Even with Helvetica, the spacing isn't perfect. You've got to go in there and you've got to go in and, kern some things up a little bit. And most of the time you want to tighten rather than loosen, unless that's the style that you're going for. So for something like this, I'm going to go in here and just really make sure that these letters individually flow from one to the next. And we want to make this look as good as we possibly can. Sorry, I still have a little bit of a sore throat left over from last week. I am beginning to think it's never, ever going to go away. Okay, and we'll just kind of bring this in right here. That the distance between that M and that U was about 17 miles, so we had to bring it in. Okay, bring this over here. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, so All the Wonder of America set to music. So already we have a very retro type of vibe here, simply because of the text. And I'll show you kind of what I mean by that. If we were to change this to Helvetica, then obviously Helvetica is a good-looking font. It still looks good and everything, but we completely lose that retro feel, or at least the type that we're going for. So what we're gonna do here is, I'm not a fan of how much space there is in between these lines. So let's just go ahead and tighten this up. It doesn't have to be crazy, but let's just go about right there. Actually, I think I'm going to open it up just a little bit more, maybe up to 190, because like, you definitely want there to be plenty of breathing room between those lines, with the ability to still be able to read it. I said ability and able in the same sentence. Sorry. Okay, so All the Wonder of America set to music. And so this right here, it has the Opryland logo. We're not going to use the Opryland logo because that would be cheating. We're not just going to slap on the logo itself. So let's go ahead and put Opryland USA down here, and we'll do some kind of like, type treatments or something like that, just to see what we can do to spruce this up. So so what I did here, just in case you missed it, sorry, I kind of went over it quickly, is I made the actual width of this 18 inches, and then hold Shift, press down on the keyboard, 1, 2, 3, 4. That brings 2 inches on the left, 2 inches on the right. So now it's exactly lined up with this text box right here. And we got that nice even 2-inch margin going around the sides. However, we still have to kern this type. So let's go ahead here and do that. And in looking at this, it looks like, it really does look like something that I would have actually seen at the park. Maybe an advertisement for the park, like outside of just outside the gates, or maybe an ad like on a billboard or something. Obviously, it would be landscape instead of horizontal. But let's see, let's take a look at this, and I'd like to just kind of explore the possibility, I should have done this earlier, of doing something like this, but I actually do kind of like how it's all caps down there at the bottom, and I think that there's a possibility that I might, let's see, All the Wonder of America set to music. There was a section in the park, so pretty much everything in the park was music related. So like combining music and theme parks together, I mean, it's like, could you possibly make anything better for me? So also one of the main reasons that I miss Opryland so much. All right, so let's do this. We'll align this area to the top. And I think that I'm going to make this, so there was a section in the park called Do Wah Diddy City. And I think what I'll do is I'll make that like what it's actually advertising. And then we'll just put the Opryland text, not the logo, because this is not the logo, down at the bottom, and we'll make that smaller. So maybe 1 inch or something like that. But we still have to make the entire thing Hobo. All right, so let's align this to the bottom and then bring this up 2 inches. And then let's see, I would like to say maybe visit at the top. Visit do what? Okay, so this is kind of like, so the way that this is kind of evolving is a poster that you would see when you're already in the park, and it's advertising this particular section. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Since there's a good possibility we're going to take this into Photoshop and apply some effects. Why isn't this? Or is it? Actually, it might be. Let's see. It seems like it's not picking up on that color for some reason. Will it pick up on these? So it's not picking up on any colors. That's really strange. Maybe if I have to actually select the text. That's weird. I've never had to do that before. If there's anybody out there that knows why that just happened, then please let me know down in the comments because I have no idea. Okay, so let's grab this and did I space these already? I think I did. All right. So for something like this, I definitely would like to make this color after I after I change the color to be like everything else, but I do want it to, you know, look a little bit aged. So we'll achieve that in Photoshop in here in just a minute, and I'll just go ahead and get my colors correct here. So I like the red, white, and blue type of thing. That definitely goes with the park. That, you know, the whole, you know, like they got the American flag and all that stuff in there. So and these colors themselves, you know, like once we go in and apply the, like, if we do like a paper effect or something like that, and we burn the text into the paper, it's really gonna look nice and retro. So we'll have that nice effect there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go look for a couple of paper textures that I can actually apply to this once we're in Photoshop, and then I'll grab all of this and move it to Photoshop. So be right back. Okay, so I found this really cool poster right here, or this folded paper, and as soon as I saw it, that's when I realized that's what I want to do. I want to make it look like it was something that was left behind in the park and someone grabbed it, you know, like it was held up by these, you know, like by like pegs or something like that, and someone folded it, and, you know, it's been, you know, crumpled over the years and stuff like that. You know, it would be at least 20, oh gosh, was that 25 years ago? It was 25 years ago when it closed. So yeah, so we're gonna do that. So go ahead and bring that into my canvas here. So just to show you, this is 18 by 24 at full resolution. Okay, so let's go over here into Illustrator, and let's go ahead and grab all of this right here and paste it right on top. And I'm actually going to put the text behind there because I want the textures to really kind of show inside the text as well. So first thing I'm going to do, I think, is I think that I'm going to actually desaturate this one, and I'm going to bring up the curves to kind of brighten it up a little bit, and we're only going to apply it to the paper. So I want to do something like this. All right, so now let's continue working with our layer styles, or blending modes. Sorry, not layer styles. And we're gonna go in, and I'd like to I like linear burn. That's looking good, but I want to make sure that it looks good when it's being applied to both colors. And I'd like it to be a little bit, I'd like the text to show up a little bit on the darker side. This vivid light is pretty cool. It looks like it's been just sitting out in the sun constantly for the past 25 years. Difference usually gives you a really good, usually really gives you a nice effect. However, not a fan of how it's making the background dark, but you could do something like this right here where you just invert both layers. So that's looking pretty cool right there, but I'm still not sold on it. I think, let's see here. If we were to invert this and then just kind of bring this up to the top and then apply a blending mode here, then we should be able to get the effect that we're wanting. That way it's not directly affecting the text itself from the paper. So we'll just kind of play around and see. You know, most of the time when you're going through something, when you're doing something like this, you know, like as soon as you see it, you know, you'll be like, ah, there it is, you know, type of thing. So I think subtract is looking good. And I'll go in and just kind of raise up the paper a little bit more. Oh, gotta go this way now that I've inverted. Okay. Just kind of go like this. Looking good. I think I'm gonna go a little bit higher right here. All right, so that's looking good. And let's go ahead and double click into the Vector Smart Object, which will bring us back into Illustrator, but now it's going to open up another instance, and not the instance that I wanted because that is from another project. So let's now close that one and then go back into this one. There we go. All right, so I want to go in and really darken this up because I want it to appear dark in the actual poster itself. Oh wait, and if I'm gonna do that, duh, I forgot I inverted, so I've actually got to lighten it. Sorry, completely had a brain fart there. Okay, there we go. So let's do this. It's still a little bit too light, so I think I'm gonna go up to around maybe 75%. Hit save and then go back to our Photoshop. There we go. And let's make sure that the effect was applied. Okay, good. So you can see it just a little bit, but it's definitely there. Okay. So next thing that we're going to do, and it may be the last thing, is we're going to go ahead and do a Gaussian blur on this type layer to make it look like it was actually, you know, burned into the paper and not super clean typography that was just created in 2022. Okay, so as you can see, like, this actually looks like it's now part of the paper. You know, just kind of take a look at the 100% view there, and I'll just kind of give you an idea. So, like, if you can see right here, like, real super sharp lines, and then we'll go back, we'll redo the Gaussian blur, and now it's burned into the paper as if it's actually part of the paper, which is the effect that we're going for here. I did see a tutorial. I found it on Pinterest. It's something how to make your photos or how to make your design look scanned. So I'm probably going to go check that out after I get finished making this. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is just add maybe a slight layer of grain on the top to kind of help reinforce that look a little bit, just to make sure that it looks nice and old. Okay, no vignettes. Roughness, I'm going to crank it up to maybe about 60. Because I definitely want it to be obvious when you see it, like, you know, having the difference for it and everything. Vivid light is looking good. Linear light is looking good. Let's see here. Got to find the one that says, aha, there it is. Color dodge is interesting. I always like it when it like just blows it out so much. You know, sometimes it can really make it look more authentic that way. Okay, so I think that I'm gonna stick with vivid light. And so now let's go ahead and look at the poster as a whole. So obviously, now that I'm looking at this with all of the effects applied and everything like that, I'd probably go back and adjust some of the type, some of the text, you know, just kind of here and there and stuff like that. This is something that I would play with if this were like a real world client project. But this is just an example of how you can actually take a font that is pretty much universally hated and make it look good. So it's, you know, like this is, you know, it really is just kind of goes to show that no font is all bad, because in my opinion, this does look good, considering that it was utilized correctly. It's got really nice kerning going on. We've got nice colors applied to it, and also the, you know, like the time period in which this was created or was supposed to be created. It makes sense that they would use something like this, and also the subject matter. There's a lot of things that go into choosing a font, and you know, that you should never turn down a font simply because, you know, people say it's ugly or people say it's a bad font or whatever. There are, you know, like there's, like, I'll just go ahead and say it. They're not really, well, okay, for the most part, there aren't really bad fonts. There's just badly utilized fonts. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm rambling. I could talk about fonts all day, but I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, please comment below in the video below what you actually learned. And thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps me out when you do that. And also click the bell for notifications to be notified of all new content. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.